Are Bitcoin, crypto, heck, even the stock market all getting ready for a crazy rally? Well, in this video, I want to share with you 9 different indicators that say, yeah, maybe. And the last signal especially is one that not many are talking about, but could really be the canary in the coal mine for a market rally and be a very strong indicator that bullish market conditions could be really getting ready to go for a run. So make sure to watch until the end to hear about that. So the first thing, the S&P 500, as we know, where stocks go, so goes Bitcoin and crypto these days. Most of the time anyway. The S&P 500 had just put in a daily candle above the yellow line on this chart right here. That line represents a downtrend that the market has actually been stuck in for over a freaking year now. Now maybe the Fed, they come out with their meeting next week, they derail the markets, everybody gets freaked out again for some reason, but maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something a bit bigger, the start of a real trend reversal. Cautiously optimistic here is what we're going to say. The next chart is both simple and powerful and a must-see. This yellow line represents the downtrend for Bitcoin. Now this started back in late 2021, and as you can see, we have just last week, for the first time, broken above this downtrend line. Now this is very significant. This represents a major shift for both Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency market. There's always a chance, of course, again, that can just be a fake out. Fed's gonna mess us up next week, but it is definitely exciting to see this happening on the charts. The third chart I would like to share with you is a very, very rare chart signal. And when it flashes, it tends to indicate a big move for Bitcoin. So don't miss this one. The Bitcoin hash ribbons are flashing a buy signal once again, which is generally a pretty damn strong indicator of a new rally. Now, the only times it has been a bit less reliable were right around the Bitcoin halving in 2020. Otherwise, when we see the hash ribbons flashing, as you can see indicated by the green arrows on the chart here, what we can see is that usually a big price rally follows flashing the buy signal on this chart. Now this very next signal has a very high hit rate as well, and this is called the super trend. As you can see here, it is a very profitable signal to pay attention to. The hit rate is pretty damn consistent. When it flashes green, as it has just done, then it results in anything from a modest price rise to a mega freaking rally. So the question when we see this is not if it is bullish, the question is how bullish is it going to be? How high can we see the price rally off of the flashing green from this indicator? Before the super trend, of course, flips into the red again, which will happen at some point. Next, I want to share a very important, kind of a mind-blowing reversal with you, actually, and this is the Relative Strength Index. Now, this has been as well on a massive downtrend for a long time, like so many of the indicators. In fact, this indicator peaked in early 2021, right? Didn't actually put in a new high when Bitcoin hit its new high price. So we've been putting in 2 years of lower peaks in pain, but just in the last weeks, we've actually seen a major reversal coming in here. The RSI downtrend has broken out with a big and bold move, the kind of move that is likely indicating a trend reversal is underway and that a new cycle could potentially be forming up. Now next, we need to talk about the 200-day simple moving average. Critical indicator for crypto. It's a key indicator that's really showing us something that you need to see. So you can see here, the red circle, it's where we are right now, the first break of the 200-day moving average in well over a year. And as you can see by the green arrows, such crosses can indicate explosive price movements to the upside when they do happen. Not all the time though. But beware, we do have the red arrows here that show sometimes the moves can be pretty short-lived. But those short-lived moments, they tend to form when the price is already in a downtrend, when we're seeing it try to rally after a peak has just come in, for example. Now, the exponential moments that we see on the chart tend to come when the price is recovering after a major market crash and we found a potential bottom, when the price has been trading below that trend line for any kind of extended period of time. Then we see some pretty dramatic recovery. Before we get to the next indicator, which is definitely going to surprise you, just a quick note to say that if you do not yet have yourselves an account over on Bybit, then you absolutely have to get signed up. They have the best futures markets for traders, 0 fees on their spot markets, which is crazy. And the best part is that you can join over 10 million other traders and enjoy up to $30,000 in deposit bonuses by using the link down below in the description to start your account. Now let's discuss the knupple, which stands for net unrealized profit loss. As you can see, this chart has just signaled something very exciting for Bitcoin holders. For the first time in a long time, we have had a big, strong move higher, a move so strong that it has actually moved us out of the capitulation zone. The light green zone on the chart here, and then into the hope zone, which is the white zone on the chart here. This looks very similar to how the chart actually looked in November 2015 and in April 2019 when major new market rallies started after long bearish periods. While we're not going to turbo run back to all-time highs, this chart does seem to show that we are heading in the right direction, potentially entering a new phase in the cryptocurrency markets. Also, something important to discuss, and it's a non-chart indicator, but a very important one nevertheless, is that the Federal Reserve is likely to signal a slowdown in rate hikes next week, with many analysts expecting that we could actually be seeing a stop in rate hikes as soon as April. Obviously, everything depends on inflation continuing to fall. If we have a bad inflation release next month, then hold on to your butts, but so far so good. The Fed pivot narrative is definitely an indicator the market is starting to grasp onto, making the market more open to taking risk. And just remember, because rates are high doesn't mean that the market won't pump like crazy. It did between 95 and 2000 when rates were around the same level. Also factor in the US GDP grew by 2.9% in Q4. Yes, it grew, it did not contract. And that job growth in the USA has remained strong. And this last factor could be the real reason that things are kind of going to go crazy in markets. The money supply is starting to change. That's led in part by China. Now this chart right here shows Bitcoin's performance versus the broad money supply. Now you can see in times of high flow, high money supply, Bitcoin benefits. In times of restriction, Bitcoin tends to suffer. While 2022 saw a big contraction in the money supply, you can already see in the charts that this is starting to subside. We're starting to head back in the opposite direction, even if we're still slightly in the negative. This is because the Fed is trying to tighten the system. And in fact, the US actually had a negative year in terms of money growth for the first time since data existed at 1.3% negative. But while this is true, the US is also very contradictorily spending like crazy, proposing an unlimited debt ceiling. Crazy. The Bank of Japan is buying huge sums of bonds. China is reopening to the world, freeing up crazy amounts of capital. And the EU, of course, is being forced to print money like crazy to combat inflation and recessions across the continent. A flood of money is starting to trickle back into the markets, which could end up being the tide that lifts markets in 2023 as one of the most powerful potential factors. Where goes the money, so goes the market. Okay, that's it. Subscribe now. See you next time.